Here's Jay. Jay, say hi.
Good morning. How you doing today?
Good. How are you doing this morning?
Good, doing good.
So this is their war room. We're here in Stevensville, Montana. We've been visiting with the Bugley family. Been here. This is our third day, and we have they have asked us to come up because they've feel like they've exhausted almost all the processes in which they have to prudently go through in order to preserve their private property. You have a situation here where they own property here, them and a few other individuals, families own property, and it's completely surrounded by Forest Service. And for literally 40 plus years, the Forest Service and special interest groups have tried to diminish their property to basically nothing. And to give you a little bit of a background, not too much in this video, but basically the property owner 42 years ago put a gate right here at the beginning of his property, and it never was, and on the deeds or no proof or evidence at all that there was ever a county road. This in fact was just a trail. It was just a little trail that went through there. There was no road or anything. He put a gate there, and then special interest groups and the Forest Service came later and trying to get access in there and basically diminish their private property so it's not worth anything. And so they would sell it to them, and that's exactly what's happened. We got the document. They tried to acquire this property many times, tried to manipulate, even coerce the sale of this property, and the property owners have refused. So now they found another way to try to make this property where it's not worth anything. And then what they're doing is they're trying to force this gate open and make this a county road with a 60-foot easement. And you can see what that would do to a property like that. It would absolutely destroy it.
So the white is the private property,
Yeah,
right?
this white is private property. The green is all forest, or
National
federally
forest.
controlled land that shouldn't be even an issue. And that is the issue here. We have all this federally controlled land that's unconstitutionally being held away from the people, and it's not enough for them. Now they want to take the private property. And so you got these good people that, I mean, they're as good as you can possibly be. We've lived here been here for 3 days. They've taken care of us. They've fed us. They've, their hospitality has been as good as it possibly can be. They're good, honest people that work hard. They rebuild helicopters. He's got a mining operation up on this property, and they're just good people. And you've got a situation here where these special interest groups, these extreme environmentalists, and the Forest Service, which is basically the same thing, is trying to take their property. And it's just blatant. We're going to give you the details on really what's happening. We're documenting it. We're taking, copies of all the evidence. But what it really boils down to is you have good families that worked hard to obtain private property, and you have big government and these special interest groups that are literally just full of extreme environmentalists that have a socialist agenda, and they are trying to take it by the means of their local government or through the legal system, through the courts. And we're here to make sure that it's not going to happen.
At the very least, we're going to make sure that they get due process, full due process. I wanted to touch on some of the evidence just real quick so you can see it. So this is a survey,
1904.
1904. And it shows the trail. They call it a trail. It's a trail. This section right here is...
Starts right here.
Correct. So it's
Right
this rectangular shape right here. The gate's here. There's 5 property owners through here or more. And but I mean, it's just blatant, and this is the evidence they won't let in. This is the 3 years before this, they're trying to claim it was turned into a county road, and here's the survey showing it was a trail, and it's blatant, and they won't look at it.
For 40 years, the U.S. Forest Service and the special interest groups have basically used the county government to try to take property, not just their property, but other people's property. The county government changes hands through elections, right? But the same tactic is going over and over. They're just using the government, the local government, to actually take people's property, when the local government is supposed to be the one who protects their property.
So you've got the Forest Service, and then you've got the special interest NGO, non-governmental organization, that was started by retired Forest Service. And they're intimidating and extorting and threatening the county government. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
I had a county commissioner tell me yesterday that he's afraid to act and do the right thing because he knows he's going to get sued by special interest groups. So it's threats, but more than that, it's mixing of our government checks and balances, and it's mixing of our federal government and our county government. And we need clear definition and clear lines that don't get crossed for a constitutional republic to work. And they don't have that in Hamilton, Montana right now. And that's a problem. But we're here and we're looking at it, and we're going to try to make sure that they at least get their due process.
Access in front of the gate on both sides that would access anything and everything that they're trying to open our private road to.
So they can go hiking up there if they want.
And they can
They can
hike up
there
there.
if they want, and no, nothing's going to stop them from doing that.
They've got access to the whole drainage on both sides.
And at one time, according to the 1950 Forest Service map, there was trailheads here running up through here,
Yes, there was.
and those have either been closed or abandoned by the U.S. Forest Service.
Yep,
And-
they chose to close or abandon them. Yes, they did.
And then they don't put them on their new maps,
right.
and people, don't even know they're there unless you go to an old map.
Exactly.
And now they want to say that right through the private property is the only way to access this property, this land.
Right.
As
Just not the case.
the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is the Forest Service falls under the U.S. Department of Agriculture, how they quarantine these records right here that we're looking at, some of these records, they quarantine them off of some, reason with bats or so forth that was in the county building. I don't know how that happens.
You can't make it up.
But anyway, and they would not let them have this evidence. They wouldn't let these property owners have this evidence, and which proves that there was no county road that went beyond the gate. In fact, the county road probably started or ended even before the gate. And this is the type of stuff that's happening here, and we're going to do our best to shine light on it and to help these property owners in preserving their property, which is crucial to live the American dream. All right, this is Zach Bugley. What's your name?
Colton.
Colton?
Yeah.
Ah, and you're, how old are you?
How old are you?
You're like
4.
my son. He doesn't act like he knows anything.
He's 4.
And he's 4. Hey, that's the same age as my boy. Anyway, tell me what you think about all this.
Oh, I think it's a bunch of garbage. I think that it's a plumb intrusion on private property owners, and I don't think that anybody that's been involved in this has had due process in this whole process. We've had new evidence that that shows where the road ends and where the road starts, and they won't even let us submit it and have a look at it.
How do you feel about, or do you feel, I guess, that your local governments are just becoming a tool to the Forest Service and the special interest
Yeah, that's a
groups?
big factor. That's a big factor. I think all these local governments are being persuaded by the higher ups to take land like what's going on here. I truthfully believe that.
Yeah, and so instead of fulfilling their purpose of defending and protecting the property owners,
Yep.
they're actually becoming the tool in which these big government and special interest groups are actually
They're
taking-
ruling the show.
taking-
They're telling the small governments what to do. They're the county governments.
Yeah.
They're going by this Forest Service and environmentalist guidelines. They're the ones calling the shots.
So, anything else, Zach?
No.
All right, thank you. So Jordan, tell me what you've seen and what you're thinking about the 3 days we've been here with the Bugley family.
I've seen a good family who didn't get a fair shake at their first hearing. That's all they're asking for, and you have outside influence from an NGO, from environmentalists, and from federal organizations telling them to give up their private property. Private property is sacred in the Constitution, public land is not.
How do you think this applies to anybody watching this?
You gotta look at it like you're the person standing here being abused. And how would you feel about it if your neighbors decided they want to get to the pond behind your house and through your property is the best way? Now they get a road and you have no say in the matter.
What are you getting out of this?
Nothing. I'm here, this is the right thing to do.
Thanks, Jordan.